Good morning. No under-the-table deal was made in the release of Jeffrey Fowle, says U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, adding that Washington is willing to talk with Pyongyang. Police continue to comb through Canada's capital for suspects following dozens of gunshots in the Canadian Parliament. Is terror linked to this attack? Great food and high-flying action in the village of Sumi in Yangpyeong. Joey Mercadante has the info. And collections from esteemed designers and the rising stars of the fashion world. K-Style has the ins on the looks to look out for on Korea Today, Thursday, October 23rd, 2014.
From Arirang News, this is Korea Today.
And good morning. Thank you for joining us on Korea Today. I'm Kim Young alongside Ojin Ju and Kim Min-jung.
Good morning, everyone. If you're a fan of Vincent van Gogh, The Starry Night, Sunflower Self-Portrait, all these pieces, you're in luck because there's an exhibition dedicated solely on Van Gogh, and it has a modern approach to his timeless pieces.
It's just beautiful. And this exhibition is currently taking place at the War Memorial in Seoul, and it'll be running until next year, so go get a check on it.
Well, it's a conversion of the arts in a modern-day piece, right? So they're combining 3D mapping, special software, and music, especially made for the exhibition, as you're hearing right now. And that's just an example of the exhibition and what's on display.
Beautiful artwork.
Beautiful.
And
but
with the song.
I also have to mention the song is absolutely beautiful. Can we just take a listen 2 seconds? Oh, it's so autumny, right?
No, perfect for
for
the season.
a day like today. Well, let's jump right to our top story and leave that story there. Following the release of one American detainee by North Korea, the communist state says it came at the special instruction by its leader Kim Jong-un after U.S. President Barack Obama made repeated requests for his release. Pyongyang's official Korean Central News Agency said Wednesday that Jeffrey Fowle, who is now reunited with his family, was let go in consideration of President Obama's appeal. In the meantime, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry said there had been no under-the-table deal with North Korea, adding that, though, Washington is willing to resume dialogue if the North gives up its nuclear ambitions. Kerry urged Pyongyang to return to the six-party nuclear disarmament talks that have been stalled since 2009, where the two Koreas, the U.S., China, Japan, and Russia meet to discuss dismantling North Korea's nuclear program.
Finance Minister Choi Kyung-hwan says Seoul is willing to join Beijing's push for a new regional bank designed to counterbalance the Asian Development Bank led by the U.S. and Japan if certain conditions are met. On Wednesday, Che told reporters that there would be no reason for Seoul not to join if conditions regarding governance structure and investment guarantee and the proposed AIIB were resolved. During talks on Tuesday between Che and his Chinese counterpart Lo Jiwei in Beijing, the finance minister did refer to the issues in need of resolution and added that talks are ongoing. China has been in the process of setting up the Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank to fund projects in Asia and requested regional countries, including Korea, to join. The United States has shown a less than positive response to these developments.
Economists and market watchers predicted the year 2015 to be a gloomy year in Korea's breadwinning fields such as electronics, automobile, shipbuilding, and steel. In a seminar hosted by the Federation of Korean Industries, analysts from local securities companies pointed out that weaker consumer spending and tougher competition with China will hurt the key local industries. In the case of the electronics sector, they highlighted that there is no growth engine following smartphones, while the auto market, they predicted, will be hurt by the weakening Japanese yen coupled with the decreased appetite from the U.S. and the European Union. Market watchers forecast, though, that the global economy will pick up steam, marking a 3.5% growth in 2015, a tad over the 3.1% growth this year.
Good morning. It's time to run through the front pages of your newspapers. Now, yesterday I began with a mention of the country's low unemployment rate, explaining that young people are struggling hard in today's tough job market. Now, more on this once again on 중앙일보, the same daily as yesterday. And it's this top one. It says, I did talk about yesterday how university graduates are going as far as changing their academic status when seeking for a job. Now, in line with that, this one says employment over scholastic reputation. 239 successful candidates give up entering SNU. Now, what this article is highlighting is that more and more high school students are beginning to apply to universities that they believe will eventually lead them to getting a stable job rather than simply giving them a good school name, such as diploma from SNU or Seoul National University. Now, if we do take a look at some more of this story, in many of the cases this year, in fact, quite a number of students decided to go to provincial colleges with majors they believe may offer a wider spectrum of employment opportunities, even when they actually made it into some of the top schools in the capital, Seoul. Now, another example is that a lot of kids are choosing to go to medical schools simply because they think it will provide them with an evident career path. And now let's go on to 조선일보 for a look at this front page image. Now this says Christmas tree at the inter-Korean border no longer to be lit. Now last week, South Korea demolished a Christmas tree tower after 43 years' time, which is located at the tensely guarded border. And this is the image of it. In an annual Christmas ritual, South Korea used to cover this metal Christmas tree tower on Aegibong Hill near the western frontline border area with colorful lights, which North Korea actually had perceived as propaganda against their regime. Thus, the practice has been a recurring source of diplomatic and military tension with the North, which once threatened to shell the tower. Now, regardless of that, the Defense Ministry here says the removal of this tower was carried out purely in consideration of the risk of its collapse following a series of safety checks on major military facilities. And now we'll turn to some business news. First on the Korea Economic Daily for this here on this side. This one's on President Park Geun-hye's words. Coming from yesterday, it's titled, "The key to economic innovation is entrepreneurial spirit." Now, they are the words coming from President Park Geun-hye yesterday in a meeting with the U.S. Secretary of Commerce, Penny Pritzker, at the presidential office of Cheongwade. Now, the two sides discussed a range of issues, including the global economy, economic policies, entrepreneurship, and ways to cooperate in the energy and health sectors, for example. Now, President Park expressed hope for new business opportunities and joint overseas projects through close cooperation with the U.S. Now, Pritzker said the U.S. hopes to contribute to these efforts so that Korea can build a creative economy, which is one of President Park's signature campaigns. And finally, we'll go to the Mail Business newspaper for this headline. At the top, this one is called Chinese Market, a constantly shifting red ocean. Korea will fall without the best technology. Now, Chinese economic experts yesterday advised Korean firms to seek more innovation to overcome the rise of the so-called China risk. The Chinese economists emphasized that innovation and high technology, not price, are the best means for Korean businesses to overcome this risk and survive through the competitive Chinese market. The experts explained that although the Chinese consumer market may be huge, it is still a red ocean where businesses have to survive cutthroat competition. If we take a look at this graph, it comes as Korea's exports to China have been tumbling drastically. As you see in the years following 2010, the experts said the chance of succeeding in the Chinese market will be greatly enhanced if Korean businesses bring top-notch creative technologies to China like those of Taiwanese companies. And that was a look at our local headlines for this Thursday. Now following are the stock numbers from Wednesday.
Now, according to a recent report on global food instability, over 805 million people around the world are suffering from extreme malnutrition. Now, although the figure is down 200 million compared to 20 years ago, it still means that 1 out of every 9 people across the globe are still starving. Today, we're now joined by Mr. Claude Jibidar, the director of UN World Food Program in Afghanistan, to talk about the agency's efforts in fighting hunger. Good morning.
Good morning.
So let's start in Afghanistan, where you're based. I imagine that poverty and famine issues have worsened over the decades as the country was engaged in war for such a long time. What kind of efforts are being made by the UN World Food Program to address these issues?
Thank you for this opportunity. Afghanistan has been plagued, as you know, by instability over quite a long period. And as a consequence, we do have large numbers of people who are displaced internally, either because of natural disasters or because of fighting, because of the war. And those people find themselves in situations where they are totally incapable of taking care of their own food and nutrition needs. And that's where the World Food Program intervenes, to assist those people, assist communities that are in situations where they also have problems. We target, for instance, malnourished children under 5. We provide assistance to pregnant and lactating women. We help children in food insecure areas so that they can enroll in school and remain in school. And also we have specific programs that target women for literacy and vocational training. So a large panel of options that we offer to needy communities.
Definitely a lot of programs that you're providing to the people there. Now, coming to South Korea. South Korea has become a donor country to the UN World Food Program from a recipient country back in the 1950s after the Korean War broke out. So where do you think the relationship between South Korea and the UN World Food Program stands now?
I think South Korea is a vivid example of the positive things, that can be done over a couple of decades. You may have heard somebody who I'm sure who's very well known here, who is my boss, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, who talked about what work WFP was doing in this country. And it's remarkable that within a few years, Korea has become one of our major donors. And I must say, in Afghanistan particularly, Korea is on top, on the very top list of the supporters of WFP's program. So we really look at it as an example for many, many other countries.
Right. And for many of us here in South Korea, there's this feeling of obligations that we need to help the people in North Korea that are suffering from malnutrition. And I believe that the UN World Food Program has set up an office here in South Korea 3 years ago. So what do you think is the role of this whole office in helping the North Koreans?
I think beyond the North Koreans, I think we all have an obligation to be looking at the fate of those 800 million people. They are in dire situations, and it is everybody's interest to make sure that our neighbors are as food secure as we are. The office, the WFP office in Korea, is here to help the public. That's my being here is also one of the achievements of this office, is to help people understand what agencies like the World Food Program are doing, and also tell them that whatever they invest, whatever assistance they provide, is very well received by the people who need it. So that's also part of my message, is to say thank you to these people and show them all the good things that have been done for the Afghans, or for the North Korean, for that matter, by whatever population here in South Korea are contributing to.
Right. And we can't leave out the Ebola crisis. The West African nations, I believe they are suffering from food shortage, adding to the spread of the virus there. And I heard that the UN World Food Program has increased their emergency food assistance to the region. Could you tell us more about this?
Yes, of course, the Ebola is a major problem. It's a major concern. I'm from West Africa, so of course I follow that very closely. Not only has the World Food Program scaled up its assistance program food assistance program to the communities that are affected. But the World Food Program is also playing a vital role in setting up the logistics system to enable the response. So the Secretary General has called on the World Food Program to really step up and very quickly. It is a major problem that needs to be addressed, and it is a concern for every single one of us.
Right. All right. Thank you, Mr. Jibidar, for your time today. I believe that you have a very busy schedule ahead of you on this Wednesday as well. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much again for this opportunity, and thank you to the population of South Korea.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're going to toss things over to Young and Minjung for a check on the weather forecast.
Thank you, Jinju. Now, I'm going to sound like a broken record player when I say today happens to be the coldest day of the season. We're going to be saying this over and over again.
And you're right, it's not going to be the last time we hear that one, right? But today's also a day in the division of the solar terms. We'll be learning a little bit more about that with Chun Sung-cho. She joins us with the weather and more. Sung-cho, good morning.
Good morning to you, Sung-cho.
Good morning, guys. Yes, today is Hangang, one of the 24 solar terms, which means the weather is supposed to turn frosty today. And really, we're starting off with a cold morning at 9 degrees Celsius here in the capital. The reason behind the temperature plunge overnight is radiational cooling. The skies are clear all across the nation due to the high-pressure system over the West Sea. And also, there's a cold air mass lingering in the upper atmosphere, creating a perfect setup for the cooling to occur. The mercury level dipped below 10 in most regions, even to negative numbers in the mountainous Gyeonggi-do Province, -2 in Daegwallyeong. So people there can expect to see some frost and freeze this morning, just in time for Hangang today. And on the other hand, temperatures will stay relatively warm during the day with plenty of sunshine. And with that, let's take a closer look at today's temperature readings. Midday highs hover around 20 mostly, but the gap between the highs and lows is big, as much as 13 degrees in Seoul. At times like this, your immune system becomes weak and you may become more susceptible to catching a cold. On that note, I'll be back later in the show to introduce to you an exercise that you can easily do in your home. This is all for me for now. Back to you, Minjang.
Plenty of rattled nerves in Canada this morning. Parts of the Canadian capital of Ottawa remain on lockdown after at least one gunman launched an attack on the Canadian Parliament building. We'll get the latest from our Eunice Kim, who's following the developments at the news center. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Minjung.
Now, what do we have? What do we know so far?
Well, this is still very much a developing story. Ottawa police swarmed Canada's Parliament building Wednesday morning local time after dozens of gunshots were heard outside a room where a caucus meeting was underway. Now, Prime Minister Stephen Harper was addressing cabinet at that time. He was safely evacuated and later condemned the strike as a despicable attack. The House of Commons remains under lockdown as police canvass the area for other possible suspects. We know that at least one gunman was shot following a heavy exchange of gunfire. Canadian intelligence agents have reached out to the FBI in the U.S. to probe the identity of that shooter. And the other known casualty is an honor guard who was apparently shot by the assailant at the National War Memorial, which is near the Parliament building. He was pronounced dead at Ottawa Hospital. 2 others are hospitalized but are said to be in stable condition.
And this is probably the first attack of this scale in Canada, otherwise rather peaceful. So why now? What are the authorities saying could be the motive?
Well, in fact, terrorism by a Muslim radicalist was probably one of the first possibilities that crept up, especially as earlier this week, on Monday, in fact, another soldier was killed by a hit-and-run attack by a Muslim convert. But returning to this parliamentary shooting, we are learning at the top of the hour a little bit more about that deceased shooter. He is said to be a 32-year-old Muslim convert by the name of Michael Michael Zahaf Bibu, who had a history of drug use before his conversion, according to reports. We should say, though, that there is no official word on an established motive yet. The attack did come hours after Canada had raised its terror threat level from low to medium. Also, earlier this month, Canada announced it was joining the U.S.-led coalition of airstrikes against Islamic State militants in Iraq.
I'm sure more developments will come out throughout the day. Now, a number of developments on the Ebola front. Let's begin in the U.S. The CDC says it will monitor all travelers from Ebola-stricken countries for symptoms.
Right. They'll monitor all travelers for a period of 3 weeks, to be specific, which is, of course, the maximum incubation period for the Ebola virus to show itself. And this, of course, follows what we told you about yesterday, that the United States would require all travelers flying in from Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea to fly into 5 designated airports where they're already conducting enhanced Ebola screening. The CDC says it will now monitor those travelers for 21 days starting Monday, initially in 6 states before expanding to others. Meanwhile, President Barack Obama's newly tapped Ebola czar Ron Klain began his post on Wednesday. The WHO also convened an emergency committee meeting in Geneva to discuss whether stricter travel rules were needed, particularly in border areas. This as the group released new Ebola death figures, which spiked by 322 deaths in West African hotspots over a 5-day period. A curfew is in place in a Sierra Leonean town of Koidu after 2 people were shot dead in a riot, triggered by attempts to place an elderly woman under quarantine. Sierra Leone's government estimates there are more than 20 Ebola deaths every day in its western regions. With that, we'll wrap your look at the global headlines we're following this morning.
And coming up, the crisp, fresh autumn air does wonders for your appetite. So we're in for a treat as our Joey Mercadante takes us for some delicious eats at Sumi Village of Yangpyeong, as well as a stunning ride sky high. So don't go away.
So at the top of the hour, we did talk about the exhibition that features Vincent van Gogh's art pieces, but in a unique way through the modern lens. Our Im Yoon-hee joins us with more on this. Good morning.
Good morning, that's right. So Korea really has seen a healthy growth of interest in fine arts over the past few decades. And when it comes to Van Gogh, we've seen everything from more traditional exhibitions to creative tributes to the artist. Today, we'll be taking a look at an exhibition that takes a very modern day approach to the artist. I think you'll find it quite mesmerizing. Take a look.
A warm grassy field, a beautiful scene in nature. Vincent van Gogh has created countless masterpieces that have gone on to become some of the world's most iconic works of art. Works like The Starry Night, where each star above the quiet village seems to burst to life. From rural scenes to self-portraits, Van Gogh was one of the most important painters of the 20th century, and his influence has even reached into the modern day, where he's still regarded as a master of art.
When Van Gogh entered the peak of his painting career, he created most of his works within 10 years. The ones done on farm landscapes showed dark images of life on the farm. But when he moved to Paris, he started using bright colors to paint the beauty of nature. Although 10 years seems short, he used a range of different styles and colors.
Soaring at over 4 meters tall, these are probably some of the largest recreations of Van Gogh's works to have ever been made. But the rough beauty and bold colors originally admired in his art is carried over into these animated versions, Van Gogh's of the 21st century. In a day and age dominated by machinery, Van Gogh's works can still command attention. Through the combination of 3D mapping, special software, and even music specifically made for the exhibition, the works of Van Gogh are just as pioneering and surprising as they were when they first emerged over 100 years ago. Technology and art come together for a new type of Van Gogh experience.
You'll notice we use more than 70 projectors, and through a process of edge blending, images adjacent to each other can look like one work. And through animation, we created eye and muscle movement to draw attention to his portraits, bringing them to life. With landscape portraits, we picked focus objects like stars or wheat fields to emphasize. That way we can create an overall effect.
It's the same masterpiece seen through a modern-day lens. Van Gogh's will forever be timeless works of art. And instead of looking from the outside, technology and creative thinking has opened the door, allowing viewers to almost step into a world painted by Vincent van Gogh.
Wow, it's amazing how they just brought it to life, and you don't have to see the real thing, but they presented it in a way where this is a completely new experience of witnessing Vincent van Gogh's pieces.
Right.
But who is behind this? How many people are behind this whole presentation?
Right, so a huge production actually involves 6 different teams. The visual design team, After Effects team, a 3D team, a technical team, sound team, and a space design team. So you can imagine all the people that really had to go behind putting this on. And you heard in the report over 70 projectors were used for this, so a very big project. But really, this collaboration allows for this very new, very multi-sensory approach to Van Gogh.
I can really sense that enthusiasm. I really want to let our viewers know that even before she came with this report, I mean, she was so excited about it. And you were also telling me earlier that there's a very interactive part of the whole exhibition.
Right. So I'm sure you've noticed, along with many others, that nowadays a lot of exhibitions feature this interactive portion. And this exhibition as well includes letters by Vincent van Gogh. So apparently Vincent van Gogh wrote over 600 letters to his art dealer brother Theo van Gogh, and it's through these letters we get a first-hand look at Vincent van Gogh as a person, as an individual. And so these letters are available. They're virtual letters that you can grab and open, and really interesting, very fun for the kids, but it also interesting.
So grab and open on a touch screen,
and read them, right?
Interface. All right, so it seems that Van Gogh still lives on to this very day
popular,
through a lot of these exhibitions.
Right. So let me ask you, have you seen a Vincent van Gogh movie?
I've heard of some.
Well, there is a movie coming out. It's going to be opening in the 30th here in Korea, and they're actually showing part of the movie at the exhibition at the War Memorial of Korea. And so it's a very interesting look at the artist, because he really did have a troubled life, known for cutting off his ear, a lot of psychological issues that he dealt with as well. And this movie really highlights him as an artist.
All right. Well, thank you very much for this report, and I'll be sure to check out the exhibition.
I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And still ahead on Korea Today, we are going to take a look at collections from esteemed designers and the rising stars of the fashion world. We're checking out the spring-summer trends for the 2015 and rubbing shoulders with top fashionistas. While we do that, that's coming up on K-Style.
A married couple in their 60s has presented Keist with around $50,000 US, money they have earned by farming and selling tangerines.
It's a feel-good story for sure. We'll find out more about this with our Sumi Village, who joins us in the studio. Good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. It's definitely a heartwarming story. So this is the couple. They're, like you said, farmers from Jeju, and their 2 sons had graduated from Keist 5 and 9 years ago. Now, both sons had received scholarships from the university and other benefits, and so were able to study without financial worries. And all along, the family was very grateful and had always wanted to return the favor. And so they stressed that the $50,000 was not a donation, they were simply returning what they had received.
Their children go to one of the best schools in this country, and they give back to society. That's a good life you've led, right?
It is. And because they're farmers, they did say that they knew they were going to be the biggest givers to the university, even though they had saved up for several years. But they did joke that, even though they're not the biggest givers, they'll be the first farmers to give to them.
That's right. And they have a sense of humor.
They do.
Perfect.
And a good heart. And smart kids, they've got everything.
Right.
Now let's see what else people are talking about online. The Seoul city government will launch an online mapping service next week. It's a joint venture between the government and local animal interest groups where they put stray cats on the map as part of a wider program to reduce the number of stray cats roaming in the streets of Seoul. And according to the latest results from the Supreme Court of Justice yearbook, the number of grey divorce, or divorce between couples who've been married for 20 years or longer, is still on the rise. Last year, they accounted for 28% of all divorces, which is an all-time high. Some unfortunate results there. And lastly, if you're looking for something to do this weekend, there's a flea market being held along 돌담길 or Stonewall Road near the Toksugung Palace. So look for these yellow parasols. They'll be selling handmade goods, accessories, eco-friendly items, baked goods, and there'll be buskers as well making some music, so definitely do check that out.
I wanted to participate in one of those flea markets, but I guess I'm too late.
As a seller? As a seller? What would you be selling?
There are like tons of clothes and shoes.
Your products will sell like hotcakes, Shinju's products, things that belong to you.
I think I'll buy all your shoes.
Oh, really?
You've got a nice collection.
Bring them to the office one time.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thank you, Misorang.
You're welcome.
All right, for those of our viewers who are in need of some key.
There's a key exercise going on in southern Seoul, and our Chun Sung-cho is out there to check it out herself. We'll connect to her right now. Good morning.
Back to you.
Good morning, guys. So yes, earlier on I was talking about how cold the weather conditions are becoming these days. And with the temperatures fluctuating a lot, it's really important that you pay extra attention to your health during the change of seasons. So today I'm here at the Jamsil Training Center, which is already filled with all these people who are trying to start their day in a very healthy way. So what they're doing is they're exercising, right? So it's a type of Korean traditional exercise which helps you in a very spiritual and physical way. It has 9,700 years of history, and it trains your body and mind and spirit all at the same time. So let me explain to you in a better way as I demonstrate some moves. I think it'll give you a better idea. All right, so spread your legs like that. All right. It's very interesting. So its core feature is deep abdominal breathing, which enables you to breathe in the universal life energy or the ki into your body. So through the practice, you accumulate the ki in your body and learn how to circulate it across your body, throughout your body, and send it to different organs and different parts of your body. All right, so it's really good both physically and mentally as well, because first it exercises your entire body, right? So it really helps circulate your blood flow and stimulate your organs and muscles, but also it makes you very calm and meditate, since you have to really focus on your breathing and yes, like this. It makes you very calm. Even President Park Geun-hye is known for practicing Gukseondo regularly for 20 years now. She said that it helps her stay healthy, both spiritually and physically as well. So today you are able to see some moves of Gukseondo with me. I think my body and soul feel already very refreshed. If you're using the cold weather as an excuse to skip exercise, I recommend that you try doing Gukseondo in your home. It'll help you find inner peace and gain vitality in your daily routine. This has been Chun Sung-cho, Korea Today.
And a good Thursday morning to you all as we kick things off with Game 2 of the best-of-5 first-round series between the LG Twins and the NC Dinos, which was finally being played after 2 straight rainouts. So let's take a look at the highlights from Masan. And of course, going into the game here, leading off in the top of the first inning, Chung Sung-hoon at bat deep to left field. There it goes. A leadoff home run gives the LG Twins the early 1-0 lead. Fast forward to the 4th inning, Brad Snyder with a man on deep to straightaway center. Gone, and the LG Twins now take a 3-0 lead. Stays that way until the 7th inning when Eric Thames with the first pitch he sees. Gone, and the deficit is cut to 3-1. Next play, Itaewon at bat, and he's got a single to right center here. Scoring is Iho Jun, and it's now 3-2. But despite the late rally here, that's all the scoring for the NC Dinos as LG adds an insurance run in the 9th inning, take a 2-0 series lead with a 4-2 victory. Now with South Korea's success in volleyball during the Incheon Asian Games, the fans have been flooding the arenas to watch the V-League this season. So let's finish things off by taking a look at some Wednesday night's V-League action. Starting off with the Women's League, check that, where the IBK Altos took on the defending champions GS Kartex for the repeat of last year's championship series. Of course, going into the game here, just a year later and a completely different result as the IBK Altos completely dominate the GS Kartex in this match, led by IBK's Destiny Hooker and her 27 points as IBK takes this match 27-25, 28-26, and 25-22 for a 3-0 win. Meanwhile, around the men's league, Hyundai Capital Skywalkers taking on Uricar Hanse. Oreo Kameo puts up a game-high 20 points, but Hyundai Capital's Moon Sung-min and Liberman Algamez combined for 34 points as Hyundai Capital sweeps through 3-0. And that's going to wrap it up for me. This has been SJ. Have a great rest of the day and see you guys again for your sports needs.
Yeah, there's a saying in Korean, 천고마비, meaning that as the skies get high, horses grow fat. Right. And I think this doesn't only apply to horses, it applies to us as well because there's so many delicious things in this harvest season.
Your appetite just grows by the day.
Exactly. If horses, they're running all around all the time. If they're about to get fat because of the autumn appetite, then what's going to happen to us, right? All right, so our Joey Mercadante joins us to tell us about a location that you can go to satisfy this appetite for adventure and food. Good morning, Joey.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, so I didn't have to travel too far, actually. It's relatively close. I headed to Yangpyeong in the Gyeonggi-do Province. And I went to this nice village that had this clean, clear water and air. And it was just this beautiful place surrounded by nature. And of course, yes, I did eat a lot, but I worked a lot too. So I think I deserved all the food that I got at the end of the day.
I'm sure you did.
So I think you'll see what I mean when we take a look at the report. Let's have a look at my adventures in Yangpyeong. Just an hour and a half subway's ride from Seoul is Yangpyeong, a county in the Gyeonggi-do Province. It has one of the most beautiful landscapes in the country, the grand Yeongmunsan Mountain and where Namhangang meets Pukanggang River. It's a treat for tourists from all over the country and abroad during all 4 seasons. We first visited one of the most popular farming villages in Yangpyeong. Wow, look at the vivid colors. There's clean water, fresh air. I'm surrounded by nature here in a small village in Yangpyeong. And today is going to be a special day. I just feel it. One that I'm going to remember for a long, long time. Of all the farming villages listed with Korea's Agriculture Ministry, Sumi Village was given the highest honor, a presidential award in fact. The village boasts many regional specialties which they share with tourists throughout a variety of festivals.
We have the Mungdang Everything Grilled Festival in the fall, a Spring Strawberry Festival, a Water Fun Festival and Catfish Festival in summer, and a Winter Smelt Festival. We are the only village in Yangpyeong to have year-round festivals.
All right, I'll keep that in mind.
All across the country, it's harvest season, and at Sumi Village, that signals the start of the Mungdang Everything Grilled Festival. Roasted chestnuts picked this season from 150-year-old chestnut trees, and delicious sweet potatoes freshly picked from the fields.
They're so big.
They are so big.
Well, they're humongous.
Dun, 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 the mother of all sweet potatoes. This one's a keeper.
This kind of village farming experience is a nice break for someone who lives in the city. I hope there will be many more opportunities like this.
After the harvesting, we visited Hukcheon, a small river flowing through Sumi Village, and children here were busy getting ready to catch some fish.
With their feet? Oh, they're with their hands.
The waters here
love hands.
are pristine and filled with wildlife. In particular, the catfish and freshwater eels here are top quality.
And they're scaleless fish. They're really hard to grab onto.
They are. So lots of patience and focus later, we were all victorious.
3 catfish and 1 eel. I feel great because I caught a lot. I don't get to spend much time like this with my children, so I'm very happy.
He likes it, the fish doesn't.
And now for the food, the grilling and the roasting, the main events of the Mongtang Festival. Fresh air really does give you a big appetite. And the perfect solution, well, fresh fish cooked to perfection over a fire.
And chestnuts.
The crackling of the fire and the delicious aroma. We couldn't prepare the food fast enough.
Wow.
It's more yummy because we get to eat it right after catching it. It is so fresh, the fish just seems to melt in your mouth.
You know, it's exactly what he said. I mean, the fish is, cooked just right, really does just melt in your mouth.
Gives you stamina. I feel like I've got more energy and I'm ready for the next challenge of the day.
Okay, so now my visit to Sumi Village may be over, but my trip definitely wasn't. The adventure was going to continue at Yumyeongsan Mountain. Now, if you're part of the leisure sports crowd, you've probably already heard of this famous place. It's amazing for paragliding.
I enjoyed the rocky ride up to the top of the mountain. It was an extra bonus as part of the trip. The scenery is beautiful, looking down from the sky, so yeah, fantastic.
We walked through the fields of silver grass on the mountainside to get to the paragliding takeoff site.
I'm here at the top of the mountain, and I've been paragliding before, but never this high. It's so high, but so beautiful. The colors are already inspiring me. It's time to go!
Do they give you those GoPros, the cameras, so you can have a souvenir?
Yes, they do.
Oh.
No fear, no hesitation.
I mean, so it could take video.
Yes,
the video
souvenir. Well, maybe there was a little hesitation, but there's no choice once you're off and running. So I flew over an ocean of silver grass, spots of red and orange foliage with an incredible view of Namhangang River in the distance.
You're having a blast.
I was, yeah.
Well, that's high. You weren't scared?
No.
Where do you land is my question. How do you know where you're going to land?
We'll find out soon enough.
Well, lucky, that's in the hands that's in the hands of the instructor.
The handler,
Yeah, so there you go, look at that.
Right on your butt.
Woohoo! I made it! That was amazing. The colors are beautiful. The weather was perfect. We took off, no problem. Soaring into the air, I felt like a bird.
These agri-travels to farming villages around the country really offer city dwellers an amazing escape from the constant hustle and bustle and stresses of urban life. Eat your heart out at Sumi Village, then soak in the view while paragliding through the skies of Yangpyeong. You won't regret it.
And they even give you one of those selkabongs that we call, right?
The selfie sticks.
Selfie sticks, right? With the cameras. And
yeah.
That's great footage. I mean, it has to feel so serene up there. I mean, no sounds of motors, no sounds of automobiles. It's just the sound of the wind and you gliding in the sky.
And some birds chirping maybe along the way.
Maybe. Were you able to see any birds there?
No, I think I was higher than most of the birds.
Wow,
so,
really? Interesting.
It's really high. It's 860 meters above sea level, which is actually one of the highest gliding sites in all of Korea. And yeah, once you're up there, it's just this gorgeous view. And I think you said it perfectly. It's just you, nature, and silence.
And a guy in the back.
Well, and a guy in the back. But even if you don't want to hold the selkabong, he can do it for you.
Oh,
so
really?
you don't have to
So he's at your disposal. You just tell him what you want to do, right?
Yeah, it's a really nice experience.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, but I guess if you have enough experience, you can go without the guy in the back.
That's correct. You have to do it a certain amount of times to be able to do that.
It's a training course that you have to go through.
Oh, but I wouldn't dare jump off the cliff, even if I have a parachute on my shoulder or an instructor on the back of me.
Well, I mean, it's really safe for newbies because you're going tandem, and you know they have trained instructors. You know, they're making sure that your experience is very safe, you know, and you feel very safe as well. So if you would like to sign up, all you've got to do is visit the website. And I really recommend it, especially for city dwellers like myself, because as I mentioned earlier, it's really close to Seoul. So
right. Let's go back to the Sumi Village. It's not that far away from the mountain. You can have so much to eat in the Sumi Village, right?
You can, yeah. You want to know about eating? Sure. I mean, I'm an expert at that. I enjoyed that part the most, I think. The catching the fish with the bare hands, the picking of the chestnuts from the 150-year-old tree.
Wow.
We also made jinpang, and that was really good too. So eating is great. But when you actually take part in it beforehand and you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor, so to speak, you know, that literally, yeah. That's really the best. That was the best part for me. And the Mongtang Everything Grilled Festival is still going on, and it will be going on until early December. So you definitely want to check that out because there was a lot of delicious food, and everything is grilled and everything is delicious.
So, like, apart from Sumi Village and the paragliding, what else are there to do in Yangpyeong?
There's a few things. The first one would be the Yeongmunsan Mountain. Now, this is a beautiful mountain for hiking with your family. It's a very easy course and not too difficult, so you can go with everybody. And atop the mountain, atop the Yeongmunsan Mountain is the Yeongmunsan Mountain Temple. And you see it here. Here's the beautiful temple. And there's a 1,100-year-old ginkgo tree there, which is the oldest, biggest ginkgo tree in all of East Asia.
Wow.
Now this we're looking at is the rail bike course in Yangpyeong. It follows the track which is a part of the old Chungang railway line. Now this kind of railway track experience is great to do during the autumn. I've done something like this before.
Right.
And just, you know, it's a...
Where you did all the pedaling yourself.
I did all the pedaling, you remember that?
Your partner didn't help you.
But what's really great is you've got a lot of flexibility in terms of where you can look. And in this time of the year, the foliage is just so beautiful. It's the perfect time to do something like that.
Okay.
Sounds great, Joey. You just made this whole like studio want to visit the Sumi Village and experience what you did. Thanks again.
You're very welcome. It's
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Well, if you're a fashionista, you might know this already. The Seoul Fashion Week ended just yesterday. I didn't have a chance to check it out.
Me neither.
No.
I knew all about it.
See?
Because I'm the fashionista.
Whatever. Jennifer Kim was there. Good morning to you.
Good morning. So it was so fun to go to Seoul Fashion Week and see what the most hottest and current trends are for Korea. Especially having gone to New York Fashion Week a few weeks ago, and it was good to sort of see how it goes globally. And if I was to compare New York Fashion Week with Seoul Fashion Week, I would definitely say that because New York Fashion Week is definitely one of the most prominent fashion weeks, if not the most, it is a very global destination, and therefore I could see that reflecting through all of the designs and the innovation as well. A really big, wide array of different kinds of designs. Whereas Seoul Fashion Week, because it is top designers from Korea and Korean models, it was beautiful, so much buzz going on, and I definitely saw that the color palette was really well suited for Asians, and I thought it was excellent, very inspirational.
Oh, Seoul is a global destination as well. So.
Yep. So without further ado, why don't we go and have a look at some of the current trends directly from Seoul Fashion Week for Spring-Summer 2015.
Seoul Fashion Week for Spring-Summer 2015 opened at the Dongdaemun Design Plaza, and the atmosphere was hot.
새로운 방향을 제시한 것 같아요.
다이나믹 그리고 에너지가 많이 넘치는
이 느낌들에게 쭉 오래 갈 것 같아요. 파이팅!
Seoul Fashion Week showcased designs from Korea's best designers, and it's an event that's constantly being upgraded to get on par with fashion's weeks of the world: New York, Paris, London, and Milan. Fashionistas flocked to the show to get first looks at what's going to be hot for 2015.
So we are at Seoul Fashion Week, which is the place to be to find out the most current and hottest beauty trends from Korea. So we're going to find out the spring summer trends for 2015. We're going to have a look at some of the stores, so let's go.
The energy levels at Seoul Fashion Week this season were truly over the top. And that excitement was addictive. The guests couldn't wait to see what was in store for them this coming spring and summer. Generation Next is a part of the show that presents collections from the new up-and-coming designers. There were a lot of very creative, experimental styles on the runway. Overall, the new designers went for bold colors, inventive designs, and accessible, practical material.
Overall, the design seemed to lean towards a very fresh, bright, energetic feel. I feel that kind of youthful passion will propel them into fashion stardom.
A-listers in entertainment were on scene for the next collection, styles from Korea's top designers. The veterans showed more clean lines, collections that said more by saying less. And graffiti patterns and prints that were full of soft, romantic colors in line with Steve J and Yeonmi P's new concept.
You must be so excited about your show that's on today. What would you say is the main concept of your collection this season?
Our concept is a re-Renaissance, which is basically reborn Renaissance. Just think of it as a modern reinterpretation of the rich artistic qualities of the Renaissance era.
Black and white monocolor bases or layers of various prints, but nothing that was too overly extravagant or exaggerated. Instead, the designs boasted subtle, elegant lines and practicality. Fashion Week also showcases the latest trends in makeup, and of course, we had to check that out.
So we're going to backstage where they're going to be doing the makeup, so let's have a look.
The movers and shakers of upcoming makeup trends, all behind the scenes.
And it looks like they're using a little bit of gel to just put it in place, and it seems like everyone's getting their hair and makeup done in a different way, so it's very interesting.
All right, tips from a Fashion Week makeup artist.
이 메이크업 컨셉트는 뭐예요?
Skin that has a slight sheen to it will still be in style. As for eyeshadow, shades of olive green, blue, and pastel tones are still in spotlight. And when it comes to lips, a soft orange or a mango color will be trending.
A festival for fashion divas and trendsetters that is on its way to making a name for itself in the global fashion scene. We look forward to finding out whether the runways at DDP will translate into fashion seen across the world.
So it was so much fun, and I think you got a glimpse of the general feel of the outfits and the fashion at Seoul Fashion Week. But we've got a couple of posters just on the side, just real life-size models from the actual shows. Right. So you can kind of see what it was like. It was very flowy, so there were a lot of floor-length pieces and wide legs, but not just loose, but sort of like showing the silhouette of the body as well. And the colors were really sort of minimalistic, so a lot of color blocking, chunking, whites, blacks, suedes, and a lot of green, especially because it's spring. So a lot of fresh colors. It was so nice, very subtle and elegant, but also very wearable and practical.
Not too masculine, not too feminine, just right in the middle, perfect.
Just in the middle, neutral. So there's also makeup to suit it, so make sure that you stay up to trend. So what we've done on the model today is I've shown you exactly what is going to be the makeup trend for spring, summer 2015. First of all, there's the skin texture. So it's not just about glowy, dewy skin anymore. It's more about a satin finish, but overall very clear and clean complexion. So that's what I've done. And then highlights should just be like very customized to your facial features, for example, just down the nose and across the cheekbones, not so much along the entire face anymore.
So just the points that you want to highlight, your high cheekbones and the forehead maybe?
Yeah, depending on your facial features, like if you want to bring out your nose, then you do that. And of course, you'll be seeing a lot of coral lip colors. So make sure to pull out all of your corals and peach colors and just mix it together with a bit of nude. So we'll be seeing a lot of those pastels on the lips. And as you can see, we've got some green on the bottom of the eyes. So green is the color for the season.
Interesting.
But we'll also be seeing some other kinds of pops of natural colors, so blues, browns and oranges. So if you don't want to take it along the entire lid, just want to take it along the bottom half of the eyes like this. And this is going to make it a little bit more wearable. So make sure to just blend it out. And another tip is to actually mix it in together with a yellow, and that'll make it a little bit more wearable. So I might just try that on you a little bit.
Okay.
So
I've never tried green eyeshadow, especially on the lower part of my eye. Let's try this and
maybe
see
just a little bit on one side, and we can
pull it off. Right.
Go all out. Just smear it on there.
So just sort of blending it in. And the thing about green is that it actually suits brown and oranges and bronzes really well. So you'd actually be able to see that just blending in with your natural everyday makeup.
Oh, interesting.
I
Thank
think
you so much,
keep
Jennifer.
it on the lower part of your eyes. If it goes up, like it'll be too daring.
Okay.
It makes it easier to pull off.
Okay.
Definitely.
It looks like we had a chance to get a new look. Thank you very much, Jennifer, for that. And thank you, Minjung, as well. I think that look will suit you, so we'll get you some green under those eyes.
I'll go with orange lipstick. Okay, this is where we say goodbye on this Thursday morning.
And thank you for joining us. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.